Hey friends, Ash here with Gents with another fragrance review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the newest fragrance in the Armaf Club de Nuit line, Club de Nuit Milestone. Some of you have probably not heard about this yet and have no clue what this fragrance is. Others of you out there have probably seen this on Facebook groups or maybe some of the fragrance forums out there. In this video I'm going to let you know what this fragrance is a clone of, how good this fragrance is, and whether it's something you should check out or not. I'll break down the fragrance for you guys and we'll check out the presentation like always. And then you'll know where this falls on the Armaf hierarchy of fragrances. Because Armaf, of course, has some fragrances that are really good clones of other fragrances out there, and they have some fragrances that are complete trash. So without further ado, let's jump into this and check out Club de Nuit Milestone. Before I take a look at the presentation, I want to go over just the Armaf Club de Nuit line in general really quickly. I'll focus mainly on the men's fragrances. So originally there was Club de Nuit Man, which, in case you're unaware of that for any reason, is a clone of Paco Rabanne 1 Million. Armaf, of course, is one of the best known, if not the best known, clone houses out there. In case you don't know what that is, essentially it means they make versions of other fragrances. Then there was Armaf Club de Nuit Intense Man, the most popular in the Club de Nuit line. Club de Nuit Intense Man, of course, a clone of Creed Aventus. I would say the most popular Creed Aventus clone on the market, the one that gets talked about the most. Main drawback with that one is going to be the opening. Some people will compare that to the smell of lemon cleaner, lemon pledge, a household cleaner, whatever. Some people might say bug spray. Either way, that one, Club de Nuit Intense Man, extremely popular. And then there is Club de Nuit Urban Man, which sucks. Club de Nuit Urban Man is essentially a clone of Burberry Mr. Burberry Eau de Toilette and Burberry Mr. Burberry Eau de Parfum, kind of mixed together a little bit. I'm not exactly sure why they chose that to be cloned, considering Mr. Burberry, at least from discounters, is very affordable, both the Eau de Toilette and the Eau de Parfum, and Urban Man does a terrible job at cloning those fragrances, but that's what they did. And that's gonna take us to this one, Club de Nuit Milestone. So before we start talking about this one in more depth, let's take a quick look at the presentation. Here's a good look at the front of the box. As you can see here, the name of the fragrance, then your size and concentration down there at the bottom. You do have the Armaf logo on top of the box. On the back of the box, you'll find your ingredient information right down here. And then on the bottom of the box, you'll find your badge code right here. This bottle is from August 2019. And here's a look at the bottle, and this is an absolute fingerprint magnet. There's not really much you can do to stop this from getting all fingerprinted up. I tried to wipe this down with a microfiber cloth. It did nothing. It looks very similar to the other fragrances in the Club de Nuit line, only this one has a little clear portion right here where you can actually see through the bottle and see the fragrance inside. On the bottom is your sticker. Cap does click into place, same as on the other bottles in the line. The cap resembles a dice a little bit to me with the fake crystals in there. The atomizer is a black atomizer that says Armaf on the top, and I'll waste a couple sprays for you guys. Hopefully you could see that. So where does Armaf Club de Nuit Milestone fit in that hierarchy of Armaf fragrances? Is it one of the better ones? One of the ones that's actually very close to the fragrance that it's cloning? Or is it one of the forgettable ones where you smell it and say, it's okay, but then not really great? Or is it one of their fragrances that's basically complete trash, a chemical cluster bomb, something like Armaf Craze Fraiche, for example? Let's talk about that a little bit. In case you were unable to tell what this is a clone of based off of the coloration of the bottle and to an extent the name, Armaf Club de Nuit Milestone is a clone of this, Creed Millésime Imperial. This is a clone of this. And it makes more sense maybe when you realize that Millésime Imperial does have bottles that are entirely gold, which matches up with what they're doing here on the Club de Nuit Milestone bottle. Club de Nuit Milestone opens up with a little bit of an alcoholic tinge and alcohol kind of scent, but it lasts for 3-4 seconds tops, so it's not a big deal at all. And very quickly, it segs into smelling extremely similar to Millesime Imperial. It's going to have that salted melon, the same salted fruity note kind of vibe that you get from Millesime Imperial. It also has the C notes that work in underneath that, as well as a citrus combo of bergamot, orange, and lemon. And Milestone smells surprisingly good, like very surprisingly. Before I got this in, I expected it to be okay. I didn't think it was going to be as bad as Urban Man, but I didn't think it was going to be an extremely high quality clone. And yet, it definitely is. To me, it leans a little bit, just a little bit, more on the fruity side instead of the salty side of things, because with Millesime Imperial, people will often say, oh, I get more salt with this, or I get more fruit with that, depending on the batch. But with this one, it seems to lean a little bit more toward the fruity side of things. So a little bit more citrus, a little bit more of that melon, and slightly less salt. Still though, very similar to Millesime Imperial. As it dries down, that fruity melon will kind of take a step back. The salt still stays there. You get musk, as well as the C notes. The citrus fades. You still retain some of that fruity sweetness. It just doesn't come across as prominently as in the opening. And I have to tell you guys, from where I'm sitting right here smelling this fragrance side by side with Millesime Imperial, side by side with a couple other fragrances that smell similar to Millesime Imperial or other clones of Millesime Imperial, this is going to be the best bang for your buck as far as just Millesime Imperial clones go on the market, in my opinion. Now I should say that there are fragrances that are going to give you a similar vibe to Millesime Imperial that are inexpensive, that are worth checking out if you've never done so. Things like Ed Hardy, Love and Luck. Things like Sean John, Unforgivable. But as far as just being a straight up clone, this one, Milestone, kills it. It is much better than I was expecting. I know I said that before, but it bears repeating. As of right now, when I'm shooting this video though, it is not super easy to find Milestone. I've seen a couple stores trying to sell it in the $90, $95, $100 range. Do not buy this fragrance at that price. Anywhere near that price, you're getting ripped off. Don't do it. By this point, you should know, if you're familiar with Armaf, if you're familiar with the Club de Nuit line, you should be looking in that $25 to $30 range. Somewhere in there. That's what you want to pay to pick this one up. Right now, it's not readily available at the discounters. It's not even really readily available on eBay yet, but give it some time. Be patient. Don't run out and overpay for this. If you pay $100 for this, it's not going to be a good bang for the buck. And at that price, you might say, I overpaid, and you would be correct if you think that. But at $25, $30, you're getting a very close approximation of Millesime Imperial for so much less than what it costs to pick the real thing up. Now, of course, me personally, I'm going to wear Millesime Imperial, not Milestone. But I know that there are people out there who really love Armafs, who love picking up fragrances on the cheap that smell like more expensive fragrances. And in circumstances like this, Milestone is awesome. So as I said, be patient. Don't go onto eBay right now and pay $100. Don't go to one of the stores that has this right now and pay $90+. You're getting ripped off. Just be patient. It will show up at discounters. Just like Club de Nuit Urban Man, when that first came out, it was hard to find as well. Now it's everywhere and you can pick it up cheap easily. It will be the same thing for this one, guaranteed. Now, let's talk about performance, which is the big drawback with this fragrance. Initially, it projects well. In the opening, that first 30 minutes or so, solid projection. You'll be able to smell it off yourself when you're moving around. People are going to be able to pick it up easily. If you're near people at all, they'll be able to pick this up. Projection initially, very good. Once it heads into the mid, starts to dry down, it softens up fairly quickly, similar to how Millesime Imperial does. Sometimes Armaf or other clone brands will release a clone of a fragrance where the performance is really amped up compared to the original. That is not the case here. Off my skin, Milestone is the type of fragrance that's gonna last 4.5, 5 hours, and then it's pretty much gone. Projection, as I said, very good initially, first 30 minutes or so, then it starts to sit closer to your skin. The longer it's on there, the more it's going to get closer and closer and closer until you have to put your nose right up to where you sprayed it in order to pick it up. So that would be the big drawback for this one. You're hoping for amplified performance, but you don't really get it. That being said, as long as you pick it up at the right price, it doesn't matter too much because this is a spring and summer daytime kind of fragrance, and at the price you should be paying for this, you could apply it throughout the day if you needed to. You could get some and decant it out, carry that with you if you're worried about it running out, or just apply it however you would Millesime Imperial and go about your day. When I originally got this one in, I actually thought that I might have messed up and that it was going to be very feminine, but it's not, thankfully. It's pretty much a straight up take on Millesime Imperial. So if you can wear Millesime Imperial comfortably, you can wear this one comfortably. The reason I thought it might be a little feminine before I open this up, and not that there's anything wrong with feminine fragrances, of course, is that the box does give off kind of a feminine vibe a little bit. And it comes with this little folded card on the inside of the box. So on one side, it has Club de Nuit Intense Man and Club de Nuit Urban Man. So obviously, two men's fragrances. When you flip it, there's Club de Nuit Woman and then Club de Nuit Milestone right next to Club de Nuit Woman. So the way it's being advertised, to an extent, makes it look like it's a release for women. But this is pretty much just Millesime Imperial. Now, am I telling you guys that this is the same quality as Millesime Imperial? No, absolutely not. Millesime Imperial is noticeably higher quality, fantastic fragrance, one of my favorite creeds. But for 25 bucks, potentially in the future when this hits discounters, Milestone, probably about as good as you're gonna get without ponying up, getting the real thing. And honestly guys, we're in winter right now, at least in North America and in Europe. So this isn't a fragrance that you're really gonna wanna wear, most likely, until spring. So, like I said before, just give it a few months, pick it up from discounters. For me, personally, this is probably the highest quality clone that I have smelled in the Club de Nuit line. Infinitely better than Club de Nuit Urban Man, better than Club de Nuit Man, and just as far as being a one-on-one take on the fragrance that it's trying to emulate, I think it's higher quality than Club de Nuit Intense Man. Though on the whole, Club de Nuit Intense Man is still going to be the bigger compliment getting fragrance just because of the type of scent that it is, along with that added projection and longevity that this one lacks. That being said though, this is still a great release as far as Armaf releases go. If you have smelled Club de Nuit Milestone, let me know in the comments below what you think about it. As always, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another fragrance video. I'll see you guys.